Good morning. Good morning. I am Professor Rivera, and this is Sports Management 350 or Facilities Operations and Event Management. So let's just jump right in. We're going to start with an overview. I'm also going to explain this a little bit. This is the way this class will work. It is an asynchronous remote class. While it is asynchronous, it might be a little different from some of the other asynchronous classes you have had in the past. I know some professors release all of your work and you're just expected to do it on your own. This class is probably a little bit more akin to a regular class in that I will release weekly lectures. They will come in the form of weekly PowerPoints just like this one, and they will be posted on a software that some of you might have used, which is Edpuzzle. From there, you'll be given questions on every single Edpuzzle assignment. All right. So the way these lectures will work is every single lecture will have an overview, which essentially just describes the main talking points of the chapter or the presentation. So this overview for today is just to serve as an introduction for both the class and myself. We'll briefly discuss the syllabus and your main grading points for the semester. We'll talk about my goals for the semester. And then finally, I will give you some week one deliverables. Very simple, especially for week one. So, class introduction. This is facility operations and event management. So some of the things we're going to be discussing this semester really should give you some glimpse into what it's like to either A, run a facility where I do have some experience. I own a training center, performance training center in Stony Point, New York, or B, running a large, small scale event of some sort. And you will have an assignment on this for the end of the semester. So what are some things that we're going to be covering is really step one is planning. Planning is incredibly important. And it should take up a decent amount of time if a well thought out plan is put in place. Responsibilities, as part of the planning process. Financing, budgeting, revenue. These are things that are going to continuously evolve throughout the process of owning a facility, or if you run an annual events, there's things that you might be refining the process. And then finally, unforeseen issues. So while we have every intention of things running in a perfect manner, I can tell you for a fact certain things don't always go to plan. So we have to do the best we can to be able to shift and be very dynamic in our ability to shift and address any unforeseen issues. One of them could be something like COVID-19 planning. If you talk about like the school and how schools and colleges have had to shift to a remote format. Me, for instance, at my training facility, I've had to make some changes at my training facility. I run one major event per year that has had to definitely implement COVID-19 protocols in order for us to continue to host our events. So these are all things that we will be discussing this semester. But I'll start with a personal introduction, and that's really what the first day of class is all about. Personal introduction. So whether we were in person or live like this, I always start this way. I think it's helpful to start with a personal introduction because I need you guys to get an idea of where I am coming from. If you guys get an idea of my background, I think you guys will get a better understanding of how or why I view things certain ways. So we'll start with, I've got a degree in business administration with a concentration in sports management from the College of St. Rose. From there, I finished with my master's in exercise science from William Patterson in 2017. And I am currently finishing up my PhD at Seton Hall University, getting my PhD in health science. So how do I really have any expertise in this class? Well, that comes from my other businesses. I have several other jobs. My other job, in addition to being a college professor, is I own a sports performance training center in Stony Point, New York. So this is something where you're going to continuously hear me use anecdotal stories to help back up information from your text based on my experiences. So, I started my gym from complete scratch. And I can give you guys the good and the bad. I can tell you guys what it's been like, what I've learned over my last, I've had my business for 8 years now, and I've learned a lot. I did many things wrong. And I think I can be very helpful for you guys if you guys ever have any inspiration or have any goals, I should say, of owning your own training facility, of owning your own business even. I think I can help you guys because I have made many mistakes, and I can help you guys in that if you learn from someone else's mistakes, you don't have to make them. They won't cost you anywhere near as much money, and then equally as important, it shouldn't cost you as much time. Right? Maybe you can run a profitable business in 6 months or less if you do everything correct, which would be phenomenal for most businesses. Some businesses aren't profitable at least for their first year, right? So that's a big one. My other job is that I am a head track and field coach at my local high school. And we host what I believe is currently the third largest track and field invitational in New York State. On any given year, I would say in a normal non-COVID-19 year, our event is called the Red Raider Relays. We typically get over 1,500 athletes from over 50 schools, and it is a massive undertaking. There's a lot of planning that has to take place, a lot of budgeting, and really the event serves as a fundraiser for our track and field program. So it's something that I can tell you guys I have equally made as many mistakes with that as I have with my training facility, but the goal is to learn from these, and we've definitely refined the process both from a business standpoint and from an event management standpoint, where I think we're in a good place now to continue to make money and build money for our track and field team. And just some other jobs. This is actually my first year teaching at St. Peter's University. This is my first week teaching there. But before this, I have been adjuncting at both Mercy College and Brooklyn College for the last 3 years. So goals for the semester. First one, well, it seems a little corny to use something like this, but that's simply progress. Facility management, operation management. These are some things that I think at the undergraduate level, not many of us have a tremendous amount of experience with. And really, if I could just give you guys a glimpse into what it is like, I think you guys can learn a tremendous amount. And the truth is, whether you want to own your own business or not, at some point, you guys in your professional careers will be responsible for running some sort of event, or will be responsible for running some sort of facility. Whether you're a strength and conditioning coach and you're in charge of a facility, whether you are an athletic director, obviously as high as it gets almost, you will be put in a situation where you have to run something. And that's what this class is about, being able to identify, doing a SWOT analysis, being able to identify how we can maximize revenues in order to drive profits. These are things that are incredibly important. And if we do a very meticulous job with our planning process, right, the rest usually takes care of itself. So the goal for us is to basically enhance our knowledge, which I'm assuming many of us as undergraduates don't have a tremendous amount of knowledge from our starting point, and then finish a little bit more. So enhance critical thinking. Again, this is a little bit more of a generalized one, but what I like to think is all of you will be into your careers within the next few years if you haven't started already. And regardless of your career, you will be put in situations where you are unsure of how to proceed. It happens, and this goes well beyond event management. You're going to be in situations where you're really not sure what to do whatsoever. But if, myself as a professor or other professors can enhance your critical thinking skills, you should be well suited to be able to handle any situation. So if you're put in a position where you have to run some type of special event where you have no experience whatsoever, well, how do we solve this situation? I don't know, maybe first thing we do is we find people who have ran an event like the one you're put in charge of, and you speak to them. You do a little brainstorming. You do a little think tanking, right? So really is to enable you guys to be critical thinkers, which is super, super important in the real world. All right, and then lastly, and that's, this isn't really related to grading or anything like that, but it's to refine the remote learning approach. So we have all now, for the most part, have taken some remote classes, and it has been an adjustment on both ends, absolutely. I will not say that I have not made mistakes as an educator, and I guarantee students would equally agree that they've made mistakes on their part as well. But I think on both parts, we have also gotten better through this experience. And I could also tell you, remote learning is here to stay. It will remain a part of the learning experience for the foreseeable future to some degree. So I think it's important that both of us, both parties, really accept that and try to improve that. While I think remote learning can be challenging, I think if done correctly, it can be used just as well or in place of in-person learning. So case in point, some things that I want you guys to start to think about this semester. Some simple tips as a student: put your phone away, right? Really, put your phone not even away, put it in a different room. It is way too easy with an asynchronous class for you guys to just pull out your phone and just drift away while I'm presenting these lectures. So really, just put it away. My lectures are not going to be long, right? They're going to be short lectures. Give me that 20, 30, 40 minutes of your time phone free, and I guarantee you will absorb more information, right? Similarly along those lines, right? When you're going to plan on viewing my lectures, right? You can watch them whenever you want throughout the week, right? Put yourself in a position where you are most likely to succeed, where you are free from distractions. So, if you have kids, if you have younger brothers and sisters in your house, if you have roommates that are loud, whatever it is, put yourself in a situation where you can be able to focus, remove yourself from those distractions, and whether it's go to the library, whether it's go to a parent's house, whether it's go to a friend's house where no one is around. Again, find the quietest area for you to learn, right? Sometimes it might just be your car. That's fine as well. But put yourself in a good situation, right? And I do try to do the same exact thing. When I'm presenting these lectures, my phone is away, usually in my office at my gym. And it's something that where I could just give 100% to the lecture. Okay, so just briefly talking about the syllabus. The syllabus has been posted. You guys can look at it on your own. Like I said, this is an asynchronous class for the entire semester. My contact information is my St. Peter's email. Just briefly on that. This is an asynchronous class. I think in asynchronous classes, kids are more often likely to be a little confused. In class, you guys can freely ask questions and don't even think about it. But when I'm presenting and speaking, some things can sometimes be confusing. If you guys have a question, really, just shoot me an email. I don't care what it is, just shoot me an email. The only way this process really works is through an open line of communication. So shoot me a question really about anything. And then I'll also say this: I'm pretty good about getting back to emails within about 48 hours, 72 hours sometimes. If for whatever reason you do not get a response from me after 1 week, shoot me a second email, shoot me a follow-up email. There is a slight chance that maybe I overlooked the email. But after a week, if you haven't heard anything back from me, remind me, all right? And I will absolutely get back to you. This is your text. You guys can order your text. Do so immediately because we will be working from the textbook for some of our assignments. There's certain classes, depending on the teacher, where you don't really need a textbook. Maybe like they provide all the information in PowerPoints or whatever it is. For this class, you will absolutely need your textbook. So please purchase that as soon as possible. I believe the second edition is the newest, so go with the second edition. uh, your deliverables for the semester, right? For the semester. So the way this will work is you will be given textbook assignments. For your textbook assignments, I will have drop boxes on Blackboard. So on Blackboard, you every week you will submit an assignment. Usually it's going to be textbook questions, like numbers X, Y, and Z. You go through those and just submit them. There might be some situations where I ask you to do a discussion board assignment in place of your textbook assignment. So make sure you pay attention to that. All right? In addition to your textbook assignments, which you will receive on a weekly basis, you will receive Edpuzzle lectures like this video I'm currently presenting on a weekly basis. Okay, so my intention is to release these videos either every Tuesday or Friday. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to figure out my new schedule. But what I can say is when these are released, you will always have 1 week to view the video and answer the questions. So if you're not familiar with Edpuzzle, what's going to happen is you're going to have to sign on to the website, create an account, join my class, and essentially the videos present and you're asked questions. Usually, it could sometimes be in the middle of the video, but usually I put all of the questions at the end of the video. And those are questions that will count towards that 20% grade. Okay. So during my Edpuzzle lectures, I highly encourage you guys to take notes on things that you think are pertinent for the class or for the quiz. And then finally, last two, we will have some specific case studies that will come from your textbook that will be graded. And then our last major project. I am still hashing out the major details of this last project, but it is going to be something along the lines of you guys have to create an event and go through the entire planning process of an event, soup to nuts. So as soon as I have my rubric and guidelines developed for that event management project, I will send that out. But this isn't something that will be due until the end of the semester, so you don't have to worry about it right now. So this week, week 1, simple, right? I'm going to give you guys a discussion board assignment. What I'd like you guys to do is let me know what year you are in the program. So introduce yourself. Let me know what year you are in the program. What's your track or major? Are you a sports management major? Are you an exercise science major or a health and physical education major? Whatever it is, give me some details so I can get to know you. What are your goals upon graduation? Right? So if you're like a junior or senior, you should start thinking, okay, what's my plan? What field am I going to be working in? So on and so forth. So this is an event management class with specific regards to sports. What is your relation to sports? And it could be anything. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, did you play sports in high school and that's why you took this class? Did you play sports in college? Do you like going to the gym? Do you simply like going to sporting events? What is your relation to sports that might help pique your interest for this class? And then lastly, a little bit generic, but always a good question. What are you most interested in learning about this semester? Obviously, it's an open-ended question, but I always ask my students this question. I want to know what you want to know about. You guys as students should help shape this class and really should help shape our lectures. If I see next week that after I read all of your discussion board assignments that all of you guys happen to be distance runners, all right, maybe we're going to start talking about what it takes to run a 5K or what it takes to run a 5K event, a half marathon event, something along those lines. Conversely, if I see all of you guys, I don't know, maybe all of our class happens to be powerlifters. I plan on hosting a powerlifting event at my training facility this summer, so we could talk a little bit about that. So like I said, tell me what you're interested in learning about, and hopefully that could help drive our discussions a little bit. All right, so that is it for this week. Short lecture. I will tell you guys right now, my PowerPoints and lectures will be short. The asynchronous format is difficult. I don't intend to have 60-minute lectures, 75-minute lectures. For the most part, it'll be 1 or 2 lectures per week in the neighborhood of probably as short as 15 minutes, but most of them are probably going to be about 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, shoot me an email. If you guys have any problems with the discussion board, whatever it is, ordering your textbooks, just shoot me an email.